Chapter 4 Physical Science Connections. Earth is a planet that is just right for living things, and among them are people who have long wondered if other planets have life. Mars and Europa, a moon of Jupiter, are good candidates for life, but only just candidates. Space probes have explored only a tiny fraction of surfaces on Mars and Venus looking for signs of life, and the small amount of evidence collected gives no definite answers. What makes Earth perfect for living things to thrive, and what are living things made of? To answer these questions, you'll need to know more about physical science and compounds. In the 1950s, American scientist Stanley Miller tried to find a recipe for life. He put chemicals found in Earth's early atmosphere into a closed container. Then he sent an electric charge through that mixture to stimulate lightning going through the atmosphere, figure 4.1. When he analyzed the container after a few days, he found amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks of proteins, one of the compounds that make up all living things. But he did not find a recipe for making life. Scientists know the basic ingredients for life. They just don't know the recipe. In this section, you'll learn about the simplest ingredients that make up living things. You have learned that all living things are made of cells. A cell is the basic unit of life. Where did the first cells come from? How did things go from non-living to living? Scientists really don't know the answer to these questions. We do know that life is a form of chemistry, so learning about chemistry is a good place to start. The ingredients of life are simple. Your body is made mostly of three elements: carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen. An element is the simplest form of matter. Your body also contains sulfur, nitrogen, phosphorus, and about a dozen other elements. These are found in your body in smaller amounts than carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Every living thing is made from these ingredients. Figure 4.2. Like you, the atmosphere is also made mostly of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, but the atmosphere is not alive. The key to life is how these elements are put together. In the atmosphere, they are in the form of simple compounds like carbon dioxide and water. In living things, the elements are found in complex compounds that work together in cells. There are also simple compounds like water in living systems. Compounds and molecules. A single atom is the smallest particle of the element that keeps the chemical identity of the element. Each element has a unique type of atom. Carbon atoms are different from hydrogen atoms, and hydrogen atoms are different from oxygen atoms. All of the atoms given element are similar to each other. If you examined 1,000,000 atoms of carbon, you would find them all to be similar. Sometimes elements are found in their pure form, but more often they are combined with other elements. Most substances contain several elements combined together. A compound is a substance that contains two or more different elements that are chemically joined. For example, water is a compound that is made from the elements hydrogen and oxygen. If you could magnify a pure water so you could see its atoms, you would notice that the hydrogen and oxygen atoms are joined together in groups of 2 hydrogen atoms to 1 oxygen atom. These groups are called molecules. A molecule is a group of 2 or more atoms joined together chemically. Many substances you encounter are mixtures of different elements and compounds. Air is an example of a mixture that contains nitrogen, oxygen, water vapor, carbon dioxide, argon, and other gases. The elements and compounds in a mixture are not chemically joined together. The millions and millions of different compounds are made up of only 92 elements combined in different ways. Just as you can spell thousands of words with the same 26 letters, you can make all of these chemicals in the world from just 92 elements. How are all these different compounds made? The answer is chemical reactions. A chemical reaction is a process that arranges the atoms of one or more substances into one or more new substances. Hydrogen reacts with oxygen to produce water and energy. How do we know this chemical reaction? In cooking, you start with ingredients that are combined to make different foods. In chemical reactions, you start with reactants that are combined to make products. The reactants and products may include atoms, molecules, and energy. 2 hydrogen molecules combine with 1 oxygen molecule to make water molecules. Hydrogen and oxygen are the reactants. Water and energy are the products. Cells use many chemical reactions. You might say that life is a series of chemical reactions, figure 4:4. Your cells constantly rearrange molecules to make energy for movement, thinking, and even sleeping. Plant cells use a chemical reaction called photosynthesis to store energy from the sun in the form of molecules. Cells also use chemical reactions called cellular respiration to release energy from molecules. Importance of water. When scientists search for life in other parts of the solar system, they begin by looking for water. Why? Water in its liquid state is essential to life as we know it. Your body is about 60% water. The reactions that sustain life need water to work. Liquid water is also used to transport molecules where they need to go, inside and out of cells. Water has many properties that help sustain life. Three of the most important properties are: 1. Water is a good solvent. A solvent is a substance that is capable of dissolving another substance. Water dissolves just about anything. In fact, it's such a good solvent that water rarely exists as pure water. When water has one or more substances dissolved in it, we call it a solution, figure 4:5. Even the water that comes out of your faucet is a solution. All of the water in your body has dissolved substance in it. Many reactions in living things occur in solutions. Water exists as a liquid at a large range of temperatures. Pure water exists at 0 degrees or 32 degrees Fahrenheit and boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Add salt and you can lower the freezing temperatures. Some salty solutions have freezing points below negative 10 degrees Celsius. Increase the pressure and the boiling temperature is raised. Deep sea vent water can reach over 340 degrees Celsius before boiling. Water has a high specific heat. Specific heat is the amount of heat needed to raise 1 milliliter of water by 1 degree Celsius. Water has one of the highest specific heats of any substance known. This means that it takes a lot of energy to raise the temperature of water even a few degrees. This high specific heat helps stabilize the temperatures in living systems. Pause here and answer these questions. Compounds of life. So now you know the basic ingredients in living things, but how are these ingredients put together? Most molecules that make up living things are very large and complex. In this section, you will learn about their structure and function. Life as we know it is carbon-based. This means that most of the compounds you are made up of contain the element carbon. Carbon is unique among the elements. A carbon atom can form chemical bonds with other carbon atoms in long carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. The compounds that your cells are made of and that they use to function come from foods you eat. Foods contain carbohydrates, fats, also known as lipids, and proteins. The amount of each varies with different foods. What are carbohydrates, fats, and proteins? Carbohydrates are energy-rich compounds made from carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Cells use carbohydrates to get and store energy. Plants use cellulose, a carbohydrate that gives them a rigid structure. Like carbohydrates, lipids are energy-rich compounds made from carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, figure 4:9. Lipids include fats, oils, and waxes. Lipids are made by cells to form energy for long periods of time. Animals that hibernate, sleep through the winter, live off the fat stored in their cells. Polar bears have a layer of fat beneath their skin to insulate them from very cold temperatures. Can you name some foods that contain lipids? Like fat, cholesterol is listed on food labels. Cholesterol is a lipid that makes up part of the outer membrane of your cells. Your liver normally produces enough cholesterol for your cells to use. Too much cholesterol in some people's diet may cause fat deposits on their blood vessels. This may lead to coronary artery disease. Foods that come from animals are often high in cholesterol. Proteins are very large molecules made of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and sometimes sulfur. Many animal parts like hair, fingernails, muscle, and cells contain proteins. Hemoglobin is a protein in your blood that carries oxygen to your blood cells. Foods high in protein include meat, dairy products, and beans. An enzyme is a type of protein that cells use to speed up chemical reactions. Digestive enzymes are made by the pancreas. These enzymes help break down the foods you eat into smaller molecules that can be absorbed by your cells. Protein molecules are made of smaller molecules called amino acids. Your cells combine different amino acids in various ways to make different proteins. There are 20 amino acids used by cells to make proteins. You can compare amino acids to letters in the alphabet. Just as you spell thousands of words with just 26 letters, you can make thousands of different proteins from just 20 amino acids, figure 410. Nucleic acids are compounds made of long repeating chains called nucleotides. Nucleotides are made from carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and phosphorus. Each nucleotide contains a sugar molecule, a phosphate molecule, and a base molecule. DNA is a nucleotide that contains the information to make all the proteins. DNA, a molecule, can be compared to a book that contains recipes for all the proteins that you are made of. Some scientists refer to DNA as the blueprint of life. Pause here and answer these questions.